Hello and welcome to the top Hearthstone cards of the week, where we look at the top 10 posts from r/custom Hearthstone. I am your host, Teshi Swanter, and this week, unfortunately, I have to pre-record it a day earlier, so if there are some later submissions that don't make it onto this one, I apologize, but next week we will go back to the normal recording time. But for our first submission, we have Forbidden Tunnels, 0 mana Hunter spell. Spend all of your mana, shuffle Weasel Tunnelers in your opponent deck equal to that mana spent. Oh man, that is a meme right there. So this card does a really good job of thinning out your opponent's deck, which means once it comes down to crunch time, once it's getting later in the game, if you play this, then your opponent's going to be starting to draw a bunch of 1/1s, while your deck is drawing the normal amount and have some more value. So they're going to run out of cards potentially. Now I think this is kind of the original purpose of the Weasel Tunneler, was to do that, give your opponent a really bad 1/1. The problem was it was only one card, so it never really had that much of an impact, and there are ways to get more, Weasel Tunnelers to your opponent's deck, but I think this could really do a lot of work. If you want to waste 10 mana, if you want to waste a turn messing up your opponent for 10 Weasel Tunnelers, I think that's an equal amount, so I'm willing to give this card a try. Next up, we have a 0 mana, 0/2 legendary for all classes, Murloc Mini Fin. After you play a Murloc, summon this minion from your deck. Oh no. We got a patches. But of course, this is not quite like patches, because it's not a 1/1, doesn't have any attack, and it doesn't have charge. Which, thank God. This is good for quests. It's good for the Murloc that allows you to summon another Murloc. Murlocs are good, but adding another Murloc isn't that useful. I think this is one of those legendaries that could help in the quest, in the quest shaman, the Murloc madness, Mega Fin. It's still not that useful. There are a lot of Murlocs, so you will get this card quite often. It's not about playing it that turn, but if this survives and then you have War Leader, the next turn after that, it's really good. I think it's an okay card. Anything that allows you to play Murloc is pretty good. Finja's is really good, so yeah, why not give this card a chance? Next up, we have 8 mana Swat. Deal 1 damage to an enemy and 4 damages to all other enemies. Alright, so this is a reverse swipe, pretty much. For twice the mana, you can do the opposite effect of swipe. Now, of course, this would probably mostly be used, with face. So it's like a flame strike that does 1 damage to your enemy hero as well. And, with that in mind, I don't think it's that powerful. Another way you can also look at it is, let's say there's a taunt with 4 health, and you also have your opponent, you have the required damage that you just need, 4 more damage or less than that. This way, you get rid of a taunt, and you deal 4 damage, and you win the game. So, if you think about it like that, maybe it is worth the extra mana just to have that flexibility. And I like cards that have flexibility like this. I just don't know if there will be enough situations where you want to run an 8 mana spell that, at most will do 4 damage to your enemy minion. The flexibility allows it to, either finish the game for you or clear the board, but I think it's not powerful enough damage-wise to kill your actual enemy hero. So I think overall it's kind of too weak, and maybe there was a reason that swipe was made to deal 4 damage and 1 damage to all the other ones. Next up, we have a 4 mana 3/2 for the priest, Light Walker. It is an elemental with the death rattle. Resummon this minion with 1 less attack. So in terms of stats, 4 mana 3/2 isn't that great, but if you look at the stats over time, it pays for itself pretty quickly. Eventually it will turn into a 4 mana 6/6 pretty much, because it goes 3/2/1, that equals 6, 2/2/2, that equals 6, then it becomes a 0/2. That's the main board presence, but another thing is it's an activator for your elemental, so each time this is resummoned, I believe it would have to be on your turn, so you would have to attack with it. Each time that happened, you'd get another elemental charge counted as, and then you can, you don't have to play your 1/2 fireflies. You can just play your powerful elemental cards that require an elemental the turn before. Now, with this said, when it does become a 0/2, you can't really attack with it, so you're going to have a 0-2 for the rest of the game, right? That's basically the drawback of this card. And maybe that's a big enough drawback, but I kind of have a problem with a death rattle that resummons the exact minion. I don't know exactly another card that has done this. I know there's cards that when it dies, it gets returned to your hand or it gets shuffles back into your deck. But the fact that this never leaves the board unless it's silenced, I mean, is there another way to get rid of it? It's kind of one of those cards where you need the value later. Maybe it can give you that value though. It's a really powerful board presence, and it's quite annoying. And then I like the fact that it actually hinders the person that played it later, but I don't know. I'm very scared about the death rattle resummoning this minion. Next up, we have a 4-mana 4/1 weapon, Doombringer. Attacking a damaged minion doesn't cost durability. Wow. I kind of like that idea. I think this is pretty good. 4-mana 4/1 is not an overpowered weapon. But basically you're saying you can control the board while taking damage as long as you have execute activators pretty much. So, if you want to use an execution on big minions but then use the Doombringer on smaller minions, it's pretty good. With the amount of weapon removal, currently being played with slimes and stuff against Pirate Warrior, I don't see really weapons being that much of a problem just because they are being teched against. And this weapon, it focuses on board control. Taunt Warrior isn't bad. And I don't know if they'd necessarily actually still run this. I don't think the card is overpowered, but I also don't think it would see much play. Next up, we have a 6-mana 6/6, a Warlock card, a Demon Blood Steward, Saria. Battle Cry, set your hero's health to 35. Your cards cost health instead of mana this game. Wow. This is a really fun interaction, of course, with some Warlock cards. Blood Bloom allows you to cast a spell for health. It's a good idea. You have, I don't know, you don't even know if you could use it in Zulok though, because it's turn 6, so it's like a later game cost. It's very interesting. I need more time to process this. So I don't know, when would this be overpowered? Of course, in Wild, using Brand to set yourself back up to 35. Or I guess it would be. No, I think it would do it afterwards, right? So it would eventually be back to 35. You could play high risk, high reward, just play really high costing minions. I could see a problem. I don't know. I guess they don't print enough taunt minions to do that. So, it's the minion-based decks would probably still be able to get through eventually. Tell me why this would be overpowered, because it has to be, right? It has to be way too overpowered. Next up, we have a 4-mana 3/4 legendary for Rogue, Thorn Queen, Sentus. Battlecry, transform all Razor Petals in your hand into Eviscerates. I myself am a fan of the Razor Petals. I think they're pretty good. So, being able to transform them into Eviscerates, I'm gonna actually say that's too much. It's kind of a good idea because, it's like, oh, let's take this card that isn't that good and turn them into cards that are really good. But I think this would make a deck that is way too overpowered. 2 mana, deal 4 damage. You can only have 2 of them in your deck. You can't make more than that. And from experience, I can tell you, you can make a lot of Razor Petals. So it's an easy OTK deck just waiting to happen. So you can only do 20 damage at a time. But honestly, the Razor Petals, you can get them quickly enough. And that's not a type of OTK you want to do. That's kind of like Freeze Mage. I don't like the idea of having any more than 2 Eviscerates in a deck, so this gets a hard no for me. Don't touch my Razor Petals. Next up, oh my god, look at this guy. 1 mana, 1/1 beast, Golden Monkey. Battlecry, transform a card in your hand into a random legendary with that same cost. I think this is a pretty nice little meme card. Legendaries, they aren't necessarily better than the cards just in standard and of different rarities. Like, legendaries aren't necessarily that much better. It is like an instance of randomness, and honestly, you don't have to play very hard to get a random legendary. I do really like at least the Trailblazer that gives you an Angora pack, which is, a really random effect. And this one, there is a downside. You transform one of your cards that you intentionally put in your deck into a random legendary. I don't know. It's kind of like a meme, but at the same time, the 1-mana 1/1 reminds me of the good old Pavel book. I'm very skeptical. He's a very cute little monkey, and that's why I want to say yes, but I'm going to have to go by Ben Brode on this one. Next up, we have a little nerf or change to Patches the Pirate. Charge. Whenever you play a pirate, draw this from your deck. If this is in your hand, summon it. I hope this is on the good old humorous section of the post. Because, yeah, I don't know. I started playing Pirate Warrior because I was trying to just rank up. And it's a pathetic deck for pathetic people. So if you've ever played Patches... No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, this is a meme. You gotta love a meme. And last up, we have 6 mana 4/6 for the Warrior Legendary. Armor is Baxen. Oh my god, is this another humorous post? It is a battle cry. Set your armor to the highest it has been this game. Excellent. So, of course, much like Reno Jackson, except this is for the Control Warrior, which there seems to be some sort of nostalgia that people want to play a Control Warrior again. I think this is a pretty funny idea. Now that Just a Card is no longer in the rotation, I think this is fine. There are still crazy cards. You can get to, in one turn, you can get to like 15 armor just pretty easily. So the fact that this card sets your life to 15 is pretty damn good. Were you there back when there was the Control Warrior? That's when I was just coming in to playing Hearthstone, and I would see people at like 35 armor, at like 50 armor. That's not the average, but the fact that you can get back to that point, with the snap of a finger is pretty insane. I think games could go past fatigue and go to the game timer. I think it's like 75 turns or something like that. I think this card is overpowered, just like Reno Jackson was. I like this one a little bit better, but it even has more potential to be even better than Reno Jackson. So while I think this card would be fun and full of laws, and that would be amazing if they could feature some like custom card in a Tavern Brawl, even if it's like not a fancy animation or anything. It's a good card, but too good. Well, that has been the top Hearthstone cards of the week. Thank you for watching this week. Tell me, what do you think? I needed some help on some of those cards, so I apologize, but they're too complex. And of course, you guys in the comments down below always give the suggestions. Unfortunately, I'm going to be gone when this is posted, so I apologize if I don't get back to some comment, in a week or so. But hopefully, or I definitely will, when I come back, look through some of the comments and some of your suggestions. We will be back the next Sunday as well, and until next time.